Welcome back, everybody. Quick lesson today. We're going to talk about solving inequalities. It is very similar to solving equations. That's why it's going to be quick, because you already know how to do most of it. The only difference is going to be one tiny detail, and we'll get to it in a minute. First thing I want to show you is how to solve an equation, which we should know already. So remember, we want to follow 3 steps. We want to use PEMDAS backwards, so you want to get rid of adding and subtracting first, then multiplying and dividing, and so on. The second thing you want to do is whatever operation you're trying to get rid of, you want to do the opposite operation to it to get rid of it. And the third thing you want to do is whatever you do to one side, you want to do to the other. You want to keep that balance. So, we're going to take a look at this problem. First thing we're going to do is PEMDAS backwards. We want to figure out what's going on. So, we're adding 2. We're multiplying 3. So we want to figure out which one to get rid of first. We want to get rid of the 2. So to get rid of it, we're going to do the opposite operation. The opposite of adding is subtracting. So I'm going to subtract 2 from this side. Whatever I do to one side, I've got to do to the other, so I'm going to subtract 2 to the other side. When I do that, the 2's go away. I'm left with 15 on this side. All I'm left with on this side is 3x. So I have 3x equals 15. Now what I want to do is isolate x. We've got a 3 that's multiplying x. We do the opposite operation. We divide both sides by 3. The 3's go away. I'm left with x equals 5. So we now have x equaling 5, and we're done. If you want to check it, you can plug it back in and solve. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2 is 17. It's going to work. So that's all we have to do to solve an equation. What we're going to talk about now is how to solve an inequality. You'll notice this is the exact same problem. It's just instead of an equal sign, we have 3x plus 2 is less than 17. It's the same exact process. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow the same steps we did before. We're going to do PEMDAS backwards. We want to get rid of the 2 first. So we subtract it from both sides. The 2's go away. I'm left with 3x equals 17 minus 2, which is 15. But remember, it's not equals. So what we want to have here is less than. So 3x is less than 15. Again, we want to divide both sides by 3. We'd get x equals 5 normally. But remember, inequality. So x is less than 5. It's the same process. It's the same 2 steps. It's the same exact problem. That's all you have to do to solve inequalities. So in this case, we're done. X would be less than 5. You might need to put it on a number line, but that's all there is to it. There is one difference that you're going to notice between solving equations and solving inequalities, and you're going to see it in this problem. What we're going to notice is whenever you have to multiply or divide by a negative number, so multiply or divide by a negative number, you are going to have to flip your inequality symbol. So it's not going to affect us when we're solving equations. That's why we haven't discussed it as of now, or as of today. But now what we're going to do is we're going to solve this problem like we did before, just like solving an equation. But what you're going to notice is when we get to negative 2x and whatever we have on the other side, when we get to that step, you're going to have to flip that symbol. So we'll take a look at it as we do it. First, we're going to solve the equation. Again, PEMDAS backwards, we're going to subtract 15 from both sides. So when we do that, these go away. We're left with negative 2x equals negative 12. We then want to divide both sides by negative 2. So remember, we're not just dividing by 2 here. We also want to get rid of that negative. So that's why we divide by negative 2. When we do that, we get x. Over here, the signs change, so we're going to have a positive 6. So x equals 6, and that's what we're going to get as our answer. We're going to do the same thing to this problem that we did here, but you'll notice this one little difference is going to be we're going to flip the inequality symbol. We'll talk about why in a minute. So first things first, we're going to solve this problem the way we normally would. So we subtract 15 from both sides. Subtracting 15 isn't a problem. We can do that. We get 2x over here. We're still greater than or equal to negative 12. This is that second step we talked about. We're going to divide both sides by negative 2. Now, it doesn't matter that the 12 here is negative. That doesn't matter. What does matter is that we're dividing by a negative. So whenever you have to multiply or divide by a negative, when we're done here, we're going to have x. This is still going to be 6. But you'll notice this inequality symbol is no longer going to be greater than or equal to. It's going to flip. It's going to go the other way. It's going to be less than or equal to. The reason has to do with the distance away from 0. So I want you to think about this. I want you to imagine, I'll try to hold this in front of you. I want you to imagine a ruler, okay? And on this ruler, let's pretend that we had 2 points, okay? So the 2 points we would have, and hopefully you're able to see this, okay? So that's 1 point that we have, and then there's another point further away, okay? So there's our 2 points, and let's say this line over here is 0. So we have 0, we have another point that's at, let's say, -3, and we have another point that's at -7, okay? If we multiplied this by -1, does everybody see that this is the smallest number right now? If we multiplied it by -1, it's like flipping our number line. And when we do that, here's our 0 again, but now that number that was -7 that was the smallest is now the largest. And because of that, we have to flip our inequality symbol to show what's going on. So that's the whole reason we do it. Whenever we multiply or divide by negative, what's happened is our number line flipped. So we have to acknowledge the fact that this was further away from 0 in one direction. It's now further away from 0 in the other direction. So instead of being less than, it'll be greater than, or vice versa. If you have any questions, watch the video again. I'll also be around for extra help if you need me. So I should pop in at some point. I might have already done it. And I'll let you know exactly when I'm planning on staying. Until then, I'll see you next time.